Ask and it shall be given to you. Knock and it will be open to you. Seek and ye shall find whatever you go looking for. That's a verse from the Bible, but I added the whatever you go looking for part at the end. Because in life, we can constantly find many reasons why things won't work. We can find many reasons why they will work. And it's up to us to decide, what do I want to go looking for? Do I want to go looking for all the reasons why I'm going to fail, why things won't work out, why it's not possible? Or do I want to look for the reasons how things can work out, how it can be possible, and ultimately how I can achieve it? Welcome to I believe this is episode 17 of my podcast. And today we're going to be talking about seek and ye shall find whatever you go looking for. Put simply, how to figure out what you want and how to find evidence for that thing. You know, something that's been pretty present in my life lately has been, I've been getting a lot of podcast opportunities and opportunities to speak around the country, and just so many wonderful things are happening. And I look back on my life and I was wondering, how did I get here? Had my own office, running this podcast, speaking across the country. How in the world did I get here? And it really comes down to, I believed I could. But why did I believe that I actually had a chance? Because at 15 years old, I was just this guy who had an idea to start making clips on the internet. That was it. I did not have any evidence that would say I was going to become successful in this. I did not have any evidence. But deep down, a part of me believed I could. And the reason why I believed that was because I found evidence to say it is possible. There are public speakers who succeed and make money doing this and have their books, their products, and their coaching, and they exist. Now, then I asked myself, well, if I wanted to be like them, what do I have to do? Obviously, I have to make videos. I have to be consistent. I have to show up. I have to learn. I have to practice. I have to send out emails. There's a lot of things I have to do. So I took a little step and then another step and another step, on and on and on and on, until eventually I had proof. Somebody liked my YouTube video. Not a million people, but somebody did. And that's one person that says, what you're saying matters. I want to hear this. And then people started subscribing. And then I started getting comments and messages and things like that. And eventually it built up and it built up and it built up until I had this basically giant wall of you could. I didn't have any massive result just yet. I wasn't speaking on the podcast or traveling the country just yet. But I had people who said, I want to subscribe and hear this. Fast forward a few years, and that's when all the stuff you see today happened. Me going to the schools, speaking across the country. That's when you see all these big things happening and have my own office. Now, the point is this. Once you understand what you're trying to achieve and what you want out of life, whether that is as simple as improving your grades, feeling more confident, getting a relationship, whatever it is for you, you have to find evidence, because seek and ye shall find whatever you go looking for. If you look for evidence that all relationships are terrible and everyone's evil and blah, 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 you'll find plenty of evidence for that. Now, if you look for evidence that people are good, that people are kind, and I'm not saying all people, I'm just saying that they exist. Not every single man or woman in the world is going to break your heart. Not every single woman or man in the world is going to cheat on you. But if all you do is look for evidence of, no, see, this celebrity cheated on that celebrity. All men are cheaters. All women are cheaters. You'll find that sort of evidence. Whereas if you say, hey, some people do, some people don't, you'll find evidence to prove that. You'll find evidence of married couples that have been together 65 years and they have gray hair. You'll find evidence of people who are wonderful, loving couples, whether it's in high school, college, or as adults. you'll find evidence for whatever you go looking for. The unfortunate thing is that most of the time we're kind of conditioned to look for all the things that can go wrong, all the reasons why that's a bad idea, all the reasons why it won't work, that we start to ignore how could I make it work? What could make it possible? Is this worth trying? Because, of course, make sure that you're taking the full picture in. It doesn't mean that you just go to one side or the other or be black and white with it. It means that you take an honest, clear, full assessment. Look at the full picture and ask yourself, in the long term, is this worth the effort? Because in the short term, things might suck. They might be difficult. You might be dealing with, I'm trying to think of an example, trying to improve your grades, and now you have to study a lot more. You have to go to tutoring, and maybe you have to pay for tutoring. Financially, you don't want to do that. Time-wise, you don't want to do that. Having to stop playing video games so often, you don't want to do these things. In the short term, they kind of suck. But in the long term, it's worth it. In the long term, it is worth it to try and make a relationship work, even if everything might not be perfect right now. In the long term, it's worth it. In the short term, it might be difficult though. But then you have other ideas, such as gambling. A lot of people say, well, what if I finally hit that slot? What if it finally works? And they spend their whole life savings on that. That's not such a smart idea. Whereas something like starting a business, but what if I fail? What if it doesn't work? 95% of businesses fail. Yeah, but 5% of them succeed. And I highly doubt that entire 100% gave it their full effort. I highly doubt that. The majority of people quit because of thoughts of like, man, it's not worth it. And they just drop out. The slightest bit of pressure, they're gone. The slightest bit of uncomfortability, the slightest bit of patience, the slightest challenge, and they are dropped out of the race. But what you need to do is constantly find evidence to confirm what you want. To say it's worth it. To say I could. To say it's possible. Not just possible for other people, but it's possible for me too. And every time when you take an action, every time when you do something, now you're proving to yourself that I am the kind of person who is capable. I am the kind of person who can make it happen. I am the kind of person who could achieve that. Maybe it won't be easy. Maybe there will be time when you feel like giving up, time when you feel like quitting, time when you feel like switching. But I am the kind of person who can. And every time when you do it, every time you take an action, every time you do the work, you are proving to yourself more and more, little by little, that yes, indeed, it is possible. And then that starts creating results, such as your YouTube channel starts growing. You start making improvements in your grades improve. That girl or guy gives you their phone number. Now you have evidence to say that I'm getting closer. And you just keep working, and you just keep working, and you just keep working. But you also want to take time to step back and look at the evidence that's being given to you. If something isn't working, but you've been trying for months or years, you want to ask yourself, well, why? Like, is there something I'm doing that's causing this? Is there something I'm not doing that's causing it to not work? Do I need to just make a couple little adjustments? Or maybe, do I want to try something else? That doesn't mean you give up just because it's hard. It means that you are honest with yourself and you look at the full picture. Whether that is the good, the bad, the ups, the downs. Seek and ye shall find whatever you go looking for. So be very careful what you go looking for. Because if you look for reasons to quit on your dreams, you'll find them. If you look for reasons to keep pursuing your goals, you will find that. If you look for reasons why it sucks and it's not worth it and you should just quit and give up and people like me don't succeed and all these businesses fail and this and that and this and that, you'll find that evidence. But if you go look for reasons of how can I make it work? How can I become that 5% that doesn't fail? How can I become the kind of person who can get that relationship I want, live in that place I want, make the kind of money that I want? How can I? If you start seeking that, you will find that. If you're willing to ask, the answers will be given. You might have to ask somebody who is a professional at a certain thing. You might have to go on YouTube and search up your question. You might have to Google the answer. You might have to read a book. You might have to take some sort of coaching program or something. Knock and it will be open to you. A lot of times in life, the reason why we don't get what we want is because we didn't knock on the door. Opportunity will not come knocking on your door. You have to go knock on its door. Or when the opportunity does come and it knocks on your door, you have to open the door. You know, I'm not going to take that job because they're not even going to like me. They would have hired you. You would have been the perfect person for that job. That girl probably won't even like me anyways. She has been staring at you for the last 9 months, but you're scared to talk to her. But you know, this and that and this and that. And the opportunities that you want, go to somebody who is willing to ask for them. Somebody who is willing to open the door and let the opportunity in. Somebody who is willing to do the work. Somebody who is willing to seek, find, knock, and ask for what they want. So to wrap this up, seek and ye shall find whatever you go looking for. When opportunity comes, you have to knock on its door, and the door will be open to you. Ask, and you shall receive the answer. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, leave a like, some comments. I'd highly appreciate it. If you also happen to be a podcast host, school principal, or run a youth organization and you're looking for speakers, you can find all of my information in the description below. Have a wonderful and great day.